we just wanted to take an opportunity to talk a little bit about yourself personally and also kind of what brought you into the music business. So you're originally from Hungary, is that correct?
Yeah.
And when did you make your trip over here to the United States, and how long have you been here?
1980, and well, let's count. It's 2007.
2007.
So what is that? 27 years.
27 years.
Actually, no, it's 26 because I spent a year in Germany.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you still have family that's in Hungary?
Yeah, and also in Germany. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And at this stage, what brought you into being a musician? What was the original reason why you had even an interest in music, and then also how did that carry over into engineering?
Well, you know, I think most of us, like when you're a teenager and you want to have fun, you turn to music, you know, and I was growing up behind the Iron Curtain, and I tell you, like the rock scene was just like back in the 60s here. I was growing up in the 70s. So we have everything a little bit delayed, you know? Yeah. So we had a great music scene. People actually were looking to hear live bands, even if it was really esoteric, you know, like King Crimson style and all that. Those were very happening bands or style bands, and a lot of people copied that.
Yeah.
So if you were a musician, you were busy, you know? And of course, you know, to like music and love music, it's a natural thing that a human possesses. And then if you have some kind of talent that's really helpful, then it propels you. And I felt that I have, you know, some talent, and got into some bands and played, and actually made a living out of it for quite a while. And so that got me into that. But at the same time, I always looked for other things that interest me. I'm not the kind of person that's interested only in one thing. I always need a hobby. Interestingly enough, right now, where we're sitting, this used to be my hobby.
Right, correct.
So when I played music, my hobby was to put together those little circuits and play around with it, or I had different amplifiers, I used to modify them. And that's what kept me, you know, my mind occupied, because like for example, Einstein, he played the violin. You need something different to do when
the creative process in your mind is happening.
Yeah,
correct.
because you use a different part of your brain, so that's actually makes you more creative for your main job, so to speak. So I was a musician first, and then of course I got into electronics because my father was telling me he's not going to let me just play music. You know, when I was like out of high school, he said, you have to learn something, go to college, and then, you know, then I'll help you, you know, with your expenses.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to play music. But then I said, what's the closest thing to music? And it looked like electronics, you know, because I had some problems with my equipment always, as everybody else. I said, might as well learn about it, then I can fix my own. So that's how I got into electronics. I went to college and learned that. And in the meantime, I played in a band, and I started to make money with that also. And by the time I moved to Germany, you know, I was basically a professional musician. So my first thing was in Germany to look for a band. I couldn't speak German, but, you know.
I can at least play a guitar and I can speak something.
And I tell you what, that's, if not love, then music is the international language, because I instantly got like 8 friends, you know, like I got into a fairly big band. They were all Germans. Actually, there was a Swiss guy in there too. But
what was the name of that band?
It was the guy's name, so it wouldn't mean anything here, and it sounds a little funny in German.
Sure, understood.
But it was a traveling band. We were playing cover tunes. Back then we were playing, you know, anything, you know, any disco tunes or anything. But it was a living, you know.
Yes.
They were paying me cash, you know, pretty good too, and played about 5 or 6 nights a week. And as I said, immediately I had a set of friends, you know, and they had a little bit of English, and I was coming along learning
in your German,
English,
correct, right.
And learned a little bit of German too. And so that was a great way to live in, and I was in Germany for about a year and touring Germany with this band. And then I got my visa. I had an application to come here as a permanent resident, and back then, because it was a communist country I was coming from, it was much easier. And of course, I also had some problems with the police in Hungary because I was playing music. I had long hair.
Sure.
So they you know, they see you on the street. They immediately ask you, you know, like for your papers, and then
You may not be involved in things that were agreeable with the government at that
no,
stage.
not necessarily, because I was really not doing drugs because we had no drugs.
Right.
But I was playing rock and roll, and
Right.
they didn't like that.
Right.
So they asked, like, where do you work? And I said, I'm playing music. And they said, that's not a job. So they grab you, they take you in, you know, and all that. So I was kind of harassed, you know.
Yes.
And actually, I had some friends who were like anti-communist, and they had like making propaganda,
Yes.
which I didn't know much about. But then I got like, you know, the secret police like following me on
you,
the street
correct.
and stuff. It's like, what's going on? And that's really helped me to get here because, you know, I just told them the story that I really got, you know, harassed by the communists and all that, which one was totally true. And I got my papers, and you know, I became a citizen after 5 years being here, and you know, and it's all worked out for everybody. I guess it's worked out for the U.S. government too, because you know, I you know, made a good living, but I also provided living for other people, and I created some good stuff. We sell more equipment in Japan than anywhere else, and you know, Japan is a tough country to sell to.
Sure, sure.
So you know, I do my part of being a good American.